Whew. You know, what's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great night. It's actually Monday morning. We have a lot to do here at the Joe Boo Sports. You know, we had a good crowd of people here. Shout out to everybody who came over. We saw Clarence. And we don't often see Clarence in too often. It was nice to see him. Dem Boys Kicks got his hair cut. It was nice to see him. Wes came through with lots of streets to fatten my ass up with. DMV and E2 Blue all in the house. And of course, my lovely bride, Tracy. You know, I left this ball outside by accident and it had gotten soaked. So it's a little heavy. It's still a little bit wet, but it's drying out. And it's kind of fitting because the NFC East was in the rain today. It rained in Washington. You know, there was a couple times in there where it was coming down cats and dogs. And Sam Howell had a couple of turnovers. It rained in New England, and Jalen Hurts had a couple of turnovers in there. And we had New York last night. In the rain. Daniel Jones turned it over a few times. But it's interesting that the guy that everybody talked about in practice turning the football over, that guy didn't turn the ball over. That garbage-ass quarterback. And now, I'm not going to say that Dak Prescott won the game for the Cowboys. That was definitely a team effort. A team of defense that should put the fear of God in some teams. Here's what I'm going to say right now. Looking, and understand this. Don't get too excited about what you see the first couple of weeks, and don't get too upset. Maybe your team played like ass. Giants, I'm going to tell you, you have more than enough chance to turn things around. I saw you guys have kind of a rough season and barely make the playoffs as a wild card, come through, smack our ass on the way to beating an 18-0 New England Patriots team. I've seen my Dallas Cowboys start out 3-5 and end up winning the division and making the playoffs. I've seen the Arizona Cardinals start out 4-0 and proceed to lose every game after that. So you don't lose the season in the first couple of weeks. You can set yourself up real good for the rest of the season early on. So don't get too excited about what you see to start the season, and don't get too upset. But I will say this much. The Dallas Cowboys with Dan Quinn, who you can see truly is having fun. He may have built a defense that might be better than the Legion of Boom. We got Micah Parsons saying, you thought that was a game? Hashtag Doomsday. I'm going to call it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre defense. Something totally new. Because what they did to the Giants, Freudian slip there, what they will do to the Eagles. What they did to the Eagles, the Giants, was nothing short of amazing to watch. It's funny how they kept talking about Mozzie Pad, how bad he was. Now, he's not going to show up a lot in the numbers. But what was clear was Saquon had only 50 yards. The team only had 171 yards. Was sacked 7 times and turned the ball over 3. We had multiple guys get sacks. 7 freaking sacks. That defense looked like it was in mid-season form. And again, don't get too excited. But I tell you how good it made me feel after hearing all of this revisionist history of Daniel Jones, you would have thought Daniel Jones was greater than Dak Prescott from what he has done in his career. They had a good season last year. They beat Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. But if you take his career in totality, and you even take last year and say, it's only 15 touchdown passes. 15. Yeah. But he got paid on that. Ain't mad at him getting paid. But you might want to ask for a little bit of a refund. Because that dude, yeah. That looked like Danny Dollar Store. So the whole defense gets a game ball. They get a game ball. But let's be clear here. You had so many guys on that defense that were getting after the quarterback. The problem teams are going to have is it's not just Micah Parsons you got to worry about. You got Dorrance Armstrong, you got Dante Fowler that got into it. Hell, you got Golston in on it. You got D-Law in there with the sack. The Cowboys have so much depth on the edge that they can rotate you around and literally wear you out. And the Cowboys have so much speed. It's unbelievable. And for those out there talking about Diggs, and it's not a good cornerback, I believe he had 2 strip fumbles right there. I believe it was 2. I might be wrong. But Diggs gets a second game ball there. I have to give a game ball to Dan Quinn, who has been the evil genius, the mastermind here, and now has a defensive front that can keep the quarterback from being able to step up in the pocket. And this is where we talked about Micah Parsons could get 20 sacks. Now, I know it's early in the season. I know it's early. But 7 sacks? The NFL record is 72. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Cowboys get 7 sacks a week. I'm not going to say that. Not going to say that. Because that would be well over 100 sacks. You're going to have some games where you might get 1 or 2. You have some teams that look at the defense and say, here's what we're going to do to try and stop them. You have some games where you're playing better teams than the New York Giants. But as I sit here right now, thus far in week 1, when you look at the hierarchy of the NFC, you have to look and say 3 teams did really good. The Cowboys, 40-0. Blowout. San Francisco against the non-playoff team Steelers with Kenny Pickett, whose last name is right. Because Kenny, he lets you pick it. He lets you pick it. Okay? 30-7. I'm not sure that that's as impressive of a game. And you have to say the Lions going to Kansas City and smacking that ass. Now, I know the Eagles won. And this is what was funny to me was reading some comments from an Eagle fan out there who basically said, well, we played nobody. That had the Eagles played the Cowboys in Dallas week 1, we would have won by 1. Dude, get your head out your ass. Get your head out your ass. If you think that beating New England in the rain was a tough game, bro, New England is not a good team. Mac Jones is not a good quarterback. New England stinks. Yet they took you toe-to-toe. And had it not been for that tipped-up pass, that interception and that fumble, you guys go home with an L. And I'm not going to say that your defense didn't help cause it and they weren't in the right place at the right time, because a win's a win. But you have to look at that and say, we were not that good. Jalen Hurts did not look like an MVP. Your defensive front, your all-world defensive front, certainly didn't look all-world to me. You got a lot of work to do. For Dak Prescott, the only quarterback in the NFC East in the rain this weekend who did not turn the ball over, who had over the 57 yards he needed to join Aaron Rodgers as the only two quarterbacks in the history of the NFL within their first 100 games to throw for over 25,000 yards and rush for over 1,500. Shout out to Dak Prescott. Shout out in game ball to CeeDee Lamb, who didn't have that many receptions, but averaged 19.1 yards per reception. Pretty good. Brandon Cooks only had 2 receptions, but did have a big pass interference call, who helped to stretch the defense. He gets a game ball. Because, see, this is the thing that was missing last year was guys being able to get open, guys with speed. And let's say Tony Pollard, who ended up having 70 yards, 5.3 yards per carry, and 2 TDs. The guy who's been waiting, you feel like he's Eminem. Lose yourself. I've been waiting for this my whole life. And for Mike McCarthy, who was able to take a group of guys running back by committee and get 120 yards running the football. And like on the defense, the thing that you look at is and say, the Cowboys can mix the ball around and hit you from so many different ways that we can throw wave after wave at you till you get worn out. We have depth and we have speed. And with those things, you can go a long, long, long way. It wasn't pretty for the offense, but part of that could have been the weather. Part of that could be the rust because this is the first time they played together. But anytime you go 40 burger, yeah. Biggest win, blowout, or blowout shutout that the Cowboys have ever had. 40-0. And oh, by the way, the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, they opened up the season 35-0 against the New York Giants. Now, the one thing that we do have to work on in offense I didn't like seeing, and I need more of, is for my tight ends. Jake Ferguson made a couple of nice catches. Peyton Hendershot had what should have been a touchdown catch. Jake Ferguson had another catch that should have been a catch or two that were dropped. I need you guys to really hold on to the football. And my kicker, who missed the first extra point, bro, don't start that shit. Don't start that shit. And that's what I have for you guys here at about 1:30 in the morning. The end of week 1. Oh, I forgot. We got one more game. We got the bad man, Aaron Rodgers, playing at home against the Buffalo Bills and having to come to Dallas on a short week. But today was a good day for everybody but Rashid. It was a good day from the surgery standpoint because the surgery went well. Bad day because he was a Giant fan. But the surgery went really, really well. Hats off to him. He hung with us until the second half. He took his medicine at the hospital, and he took his medicine from the Cowboys. And that, my friends, is a true fan of a team. And you have to honor and respect a guy like that. So remember, good people, tell the people you love how much you love them. You might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. And God willing, I'll see you in a few hours. Peace.